On today's show, I'm going to be talking with Michael Haberfelner, and he is from Austria. But that's not even the most interesting thing about him, even though it's quite special. We like our neighbors in Bavaria. But he is the creator of a pretty amazing website called Research My Trash. It reviews independent films of many budgets, including no budget. He interviews directors and screenwriters and actors. He has just been so supportive of the low budget independent film community, especially in the horror and cult genres and exploitation film. But he's also a screenwriter who has had his work produced, and he's in current productions, and he's just got a lot of irons in the fire. So I want to talk to him about all of that and then pick his brain about some of his favorite films. So welcome to the show, Michael.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here, and hi everybody who's listening. Thanks for listening.
So I called Austria part of Bavaria. What countries are considered part of, Bavaria?
Well, no, it's not part of Bavaria. Bavaria is a part of Germany. Austria is Austria, but that's okay.
So when you say, like, to us, when we're thinking of something Bavarian style, like the Matterhorn ride at the Disneyland, is there like a whole Bavarian kind of style?
The Matterhorn is in Switzerland, though.
Oh, see how ignorant I am. See, as an American,
okay. I mean, we like share some kind of culture, so it's not totally wrong. It's just not right.
I think of Bavarian as this kind of warm, cozy winter time. It's snowing in a little castle. Little German children playing and old German men smoking a pipe, and
that's more like the romanticized view of it.
And you're like cross-country skiing across the border into Switzerland and Austria. And well, I'm glad you educated me on that. But no, so Austria, what part of Austria do you live in?
Vienna, which is the capital.
My goodness. So Vienna, is that also where you grew up?
Yes. Well, in a little village outside Vienna, but just outside Vienna, so pretty much.
So does Austria have an underground film industry?
No, not really. Well, yes, a little bit, but not much.
Okay.
I really hardly know any Austrian filmmakers, underground filmmakers. And I mean, I know many underground filmmakers from pretty much everywhere else. So,
like, what's been the biggest, produced in Austria film to come out in the past few years?
Oh my God, good question. I mean, we did win an Oscar not long ago for foreign language movie.
Was it a period piece or a modern day?
No, it was a modern day piece. It was supposed to, I haven't seen it, I have to admit, but it was supposed to be pretty good.
Okay. Well, I'll definitely look that up, because when I think of Austria, and especially Vienna, it seems like this would be like a period piece with lots of Viennese waltzes and,
Yeah. I mean, we have plenty of those too, but I mean, it's not a realistic view of Austria anymore.
Right. It's like not all Austrian
We've
films.
since arrived in the 20th century. Now we're going to take it to the 21st.
I know, because it always seems like it has to revolve around like one of the world wars, You can only make Austrian films set during wartime.
Actually, that's kind of true. There are so many Austrian and also German films about wartime. It's weird. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think it's so cool that in this very classy city with so much rich cultural history, Vienna, that you have created a website that celebrates trash.
Well, yeah. I think that was probably, me trying to break out of our culture. I don't know.
I like that, because it's so much more interesting that you're doing this in Vienna as opposed to like Baltimore, Maryland in the US. which you would just take for granted. People would love trashy movies and John Waters, but for you to do it where you're doing it, I applaud you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you know.
Well, first of all, so the website, it's like searchmytrash.com, also known as Research My Trash.
Yeah,
And you developed it about 15 years ago.
that's correct. Yes.
So very long running, which means you must be about 80 right now.
I feel like it for sure, but I think I'm still a bit younger. But I can't remember.
Well, 15 years of reviewing low-budget film has probably aged you about 50 years.
Oh, probably. Yeah, totally.
Well, I'm going to read off your site, how you describe it. You call it the premier research site for the researcher, collector, lover of trashy, weird, and wonderful movies. Movies that are just too exotic, too foreign, too odd, too different for your snotty neighborhood critic. We do think they're wonderful.
Absolutely. No, it's. I mean, I think it's. How would you say it? The underground movies are more or less the fat of the land, and everything that Hollywood has or anybody has as mainstream is pretty much has grown out of the underground somehow.
Well, for people who, immerse themselves in the underground and cult film, after a while, you don't realize that the rest of the world doesn't think like you do.
Yes, that's true. That's very true. Yeah.
So after a while, you need a site like yours just so you can find like-minded people who don't look at you funny when you tell them, you love early John Waters or you love shocking Asian cinema and, Coffin Joe movies.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, for you, is most of your circle of friends, do they love these types of films, or do a lot of people just not understand it?
There are only very few that actually do.
And do you keep it a secret from other people in your life?
No. It's just, I think my friends have just, come to accept it.
Well, do you ever get invited to watch movies with people and they say, "Oh, Michael, you pick the movie tonight"?
Sometimes that happened. Mostly, I never get invited again. No, that's not true. If something like that happens, I try to pick something that people might like. So.
Right. Well, so when you started Research My Trash, can you remember the very first film you reviewed for it?
Actually, no. No, I really can't.
Because you've reviewed how many films so far?
It's over 10,000 now.
Which I hope at some point you actually approach the Guinness Book of World Records and tell them you want to be put in there as the website that has reviewed more movies than any other website, by one person who reviews them.
Yeah. I should try that. Yeah.
Think we could rally for that and get you in there?
Maybe it never occurred to me yet because I'm not that much about numbers, but maybe.
Well, the other thing is, besides reviewing movies, you interview filmmakers and actors. And
yeah.
So about how many interviews do you think you've done?
It's probably about 2,500 or so.
Wow. So is there like one filmmaker who has the record for like the most number of their movies that you've reviewed?
I literally wouldn't know.
Yeah. Do you think there's some where they've submitted over 10 movies that you've reviewed?
Yeah. I guess there are quite a few. I'd have to dig deep to answer that question truthfully. So I think there are quite a few that have quite a few reviews.
Sure. Well, I want to get into a little just of, what the climate was like when you created the magazine and just, what were the options for filmmakers back in the day. But I also, after that, we're going to talk about your own film work as a screenwriter,
Okay.
an occasional actor, and I'm especially anxious to hear about your kind of growing collaborations with the cult film actress Lynn Lowry.
Oh yeah. I'll gladly talk about that and everything. Yeah, sure.
And she's kind of had a career renaissance. She's doing a lot of indie film work now with
She,
you and other filmmakers,
yeah, she did. No, and I mean that's awesome.
which is kind of cool when you get that relationship with someone, you get to work with them over and
Mm,
over and kind of develop, a friendship, a relationship.
yeah. No, totally.
And there's always just something about having a star in your movie.
Exactly. No, I think it's it's really, in a way, it's really necessary
Mhm.
to reach more people.
That instant name recognition that says,
It is.
"Oh, I like her. Yeah, I'll watch
Yeah,
this."
yeah. And but yeah, on the other hand, it's also Lynn Lowry is an actress, and also Deborah Lamb, who's also been in some of my movies and hopefully will be in more. Those are our actresses. They come prepared.
Yes.
They bring their A game to the movie.
Well, isn't that interesting? And not to put down amateur actors, who try their hardest, but the thing about being a professional is, boy, you come knowing your lines and you have your
It,
full attention and you take direction and you hit your mark.
yeah, exactly.
The other thing
I,
I like about working with professionals, it's not just that they've memorized their lines, but they've really crafted their part. Like they really
mhm.
have a strong idea of how they're going to play it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you there. It's really, a much better. Well, I don't want to put down anybody. I mean,
Exactly.
I also like these people who just try it,
Hmm.
and
Exactly.
and they need to be nurtured. But of course, if you get a pro, you also get pro work.
You do. And there's just something special, don't you think, about hearing your lines read by someone like Lynn, a professional, and go, oh
Yeah,
my goodness, what a treat.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Well, we're going to talk more about her and, on the set with the productions you did together. But,
Mm,
the thing that I really like about your website is it really fills a need out there for low budget independent filmmakers. And, you know, I'm, I think I'm older than you. I'm trying to do the math, but I can remember the late 80s, early 90s, pre internet, when there
mm,
were, some film zines that you might, get your low budget movie reviewed in, but there were
yeah,
very few sources that would review your movie unless it came out of Hollywood.
yeah.
So when you started, mid 2000s,
Mm,
what was the climate back? What was the need that you saw out there? I mean, there was still the internet. It's nothing like it is today, but there were sites and blogs and things. But what were you seeing out there thinking, wow, I need to create something that I don't see?
I guess there were uh, back then, and probably it's even true now. There were many sites that were specialized into one thing or another, and never painted a full picture. And I wanted to have something, that's like bigger, doesn't just that doesn't just do slasher movies or martial arts movies or art house movies or whatever, but that really tries to cover everything in a way.
Right, which you do because you cover horror, you do slasher, but also you do comedies, you've done dramas,
Yeah.
action movies, everything.
No, I try to stay. I try to is try is the word here, but I try to stay on top of everything.
Now, one thing about this ultra low budget filmmaking, it's predisposed for horror and genre movies. I mean, when you're a
Yes.
young filmmaker, you just want to start out and do your own Friday the 13th movie.
Many do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or in
Yeah.
your case, zombie movies.
Zombie movie. Yeah, I did some of those. Yes.
But it's almost like, you know, if I was a kid today, and had access to iPhones and, all the
Mm,
stuff we didn't have, I mean, who wouldn't want to get your friends together, put on some old Halloween makeup, and make your own zombie movie in your backyard?
exactly, exactly.
And I kind of like filmmakers who never lose that sense of fun. A lot of times, filmmakers, as they progress, they think they have to get more serious.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's okay to stay silly.
No, I think much creativity comes out of silliness because the more you try to be. Whoops, sorry, my phone rings. Could we interrupt this for a minute?
Yes, you can take that call.
Okay.
I'm going to sit here and twiddle my thumbs while you do that.
Tell us.
Oh, my. Am I going to edit this, or maybe I'll just use this as a chance to talk myself about Michael Haberfelner of Research My Trash fame, screenwriter, actor, influential Austrian, future Guinness Book of World Records holder for most movies single-handedly reviewed on a single website. Oh, what else could we say about Michael?
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, good. I
I'm
filled
back.
up the
Sorry.
air. I
Yeah.
filled up the airtime while you were gone.
Okay,
Now,
thank you.
one thing I thought of, when we were talking about making your own zombie movie when you're a kid, what I liked about the childhood movies is we always had a sense of fun, and even when you made your zombie movies, you always had humor. Or your home invasion movie, there was humor.
Yeah.
It just seems like whatever you do in any genre, it could be an action movie, I think you would put comedy in it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Is that just who you are as a writer?
Yeah. It's for me. It's pretty. Comedy comes pretty easy for me. So, and some of the concepts you think up, they just work better with comedy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you'll ever just write an out and out comedy without any other genre influences?
Let's say it might happen. I've never, I never set out to do one thing, but just what falls together will come together. So maybe I have an idea for a comedy. That's just a comedy.
Mm-hmm. I
Maybe,
think sometimes you just need to do that to get that out of your system and say, you know what? I love comedy. Let me just go for it.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, let's get back to your inspirations for Research My Trash.
Okay.
Since you're both a filmmaker now and a guy that reviews films, has this amazing website, put yourself into the filmmaker's shoes, 20 years ago or 25, or when I was, first doing it almost 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember there were some cool independent magazines. It was usually put out by like one person who would write everything, maybe get some submissions, work with a local printer, print it, mail it out themselves. I mean, these were labors of love kind of zines and magazines.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, I was looking back at what it took to just submit something. Back then, you'd make a copy of your movie on a VHS tape.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't have two VCRs, sometimes you'd actually have them made by a duplicating company.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to like physically mail them. You'd write letters. There was no email for follow-up.
Yeah.
So you'd spend all this money on tapes and postage. And then there's like no way to even know if they received it. So you'd literally just wait. And then next month, oh, did they get it? Oh, did they review it in the magazine? No. Oh, you'd wait for the next issue. And this might come out, every 3 months? half
Yeah,
a,
yeah, I know what
once
you mean.
every,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe every 6 months. And you're so at people's mercy, and there's just no way to know if anyone even looked at it
Mm.
or if they just threw it in the garbage. And it wasn't quite that bad, when you started your magazine, but just leading up, there's this whole history for low budget indie filmmakers to feel so at the mercy of reviewers. And there were so few that would even look at their work, and the few that did would often be kind of vicious and kind of cruel in their reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. That was. Well, I think that's probably still the case. I mean, now they don't have zines anymore, but have blogs. So, uh, but it's, in a way, like now it's changed for the better a bit because you can submitting your movie doesn't cost you half the budget, anymore.
Right. And the thing with you is you don't judge the movie just on the budget. It's like, okay, has no budget. Let's get past this and just talk about the
Yeah,
plot and how the film is made. And so
yeah,
many reviewers in the past used to be stuck on budget, and anything after that, they said, "Oh, this sucks. This is horrible," just because it has a low budget.
yeah. No, I think that's a really stupid approach because yeah, I mean, uh, you don't need not every movie to exaggerate now. Not every movie has to be a Marvel movie, uh, and and sometimes you can make something on a minuscule budget or no budget at all.
Hmm.
So that's a different kind of creativity you need, though.
We
So
live in an era where everyone is a critic online.
yes,
And
yes.
for movies, that could be IMDb or leaving a review on Amazon, but also just on Facebook and social media. People just want to comment on everything. And there's just something about the internet, Twitter, where
Mm,
it's almost like the internet is just hypnotizing people. It's like they can't help themselves, but they just want to rip people apart. They just want to, spew all this negativity. I
yes,
mean,
yes,
do you ever
yes.
find that?
Oh yeah, yeah. You find it pretty much all the time.
It's
So like,
exhausting. It doesn't take much effort to rip someone apart, but it
yeah,
does take
exactly.
some knowledge and some sensitivity to actually look for something good in a low
Hmm.
budget movie.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it takes a lot of a lot of heart and brains to make a low budget movie.
That's right.
So
Even crap takes effort to make.
yeah, yeah. I mean that totally gets overlooked sometimes when somebody rips something apart.
Well, tell me if you share this philosophy. Because I can watch almost any movie and any, zero budget movie and always find at least something to like about it. You know,
Yes,
and
yes,
and I
yes.
can hate 90% of it, but I can think, oh, okay, that was a clever idea, or this was well executed. Oh, in spite of the script, that actor did a good job, and on and on. Or oh, that soundtrack was kind of fun and
Yeah,
quirky.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm totally with you there. It's like if you, I mean, it's easy to rip a movie down, but it doesn't make you a better person. If you look for the good in the bad, uh, and let's say the movie is really bad for the argument's sake, if you look for the good in the bad, you at the end you're a happier person, I think.
Because the one thing a low budget filmmaker often does, they do have ideas,
Hmm.
and they may
Yes.
not execute them that well, but sometimes they come up with some pretty clever ideas.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. I totally agree with you there.
And for me, once I get into the rhythm of a no budget movie, made
Mhm.
by amateurs, I kind of just, what's the
Yeah.
word? I just kind of get into their world, and I just kind of go
Yeah.
with it. And I'm not like resisting it.
Yeah, totally. No, I mean you have to have an open mind, and you have to, sometimes you have to accept that the sound isn't perfect, or the special effects are ridiculous or whatever. but yeah, you have to immerse yourself more. But then it can make you happy, even though the film objectively wasn't very good.
I get a perverse fascination, seeing amateur actors. Maybe they're not well trained or,
Mm,
by Hollywood standards, but I really admire when they really try to give a performance.
yes, yeah, that's
And that's nice. Here's the one thing that turns me off in a low budget movie, though,
mm,
especially, the ultra, no budget shot on video.
yeah,
It's when there's this endless scenes of two characters on a couch talking.
mm, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I hate it. And it's even worse. Maybe even if they were standing up or doing something, but you
Mm,
see two people sitting side by side on a couch, which is very unnatural because in real life, you don't sit next to someone on a couch. You would like sit in a chair across from someone in a couch. But it's so much easier for the filmmaker just to frame the two people in the frame on the couch side by
yeah, yeah.
side.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah,
And
yeah. I
then it's
mean,
usually like against a white wall that's really bland and boring. And I'm just always fascinated by just the homes of low budget filmmakers because they're just shooting it at their house.
yeah, of course.
And there's this weird thing where a lot of times they live in an apartment or a condo or a house, and you think, couldn't they have done something to make this room look a little more interesting?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. That's where. Yeah, I mean,
Because it's
oh,
so generic. There's this generic world of no budget filmmaking where all the rooms and furniture and people look interchangeable.
in a way, yeah. I mean, you should, even if you can't afford a set dresser or anything, put your mind into set dressing.
Yeah, or just do a more interesting camera angle
Hmm.
that's not
Yeah.
so
Oh yeah.
flat.
Yeah. That's true though.
Or
Yeah.
use a little selective focus.
Selective focus. Make the edit more interesting. There's so many.
Cast a few shadows here and there.
No, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So I mean, I know you love all these films, but what are your pet peeves on some of these ultra low budget movies?
Ha.
Especially the things that it doesn't take money to fix. So you're
Yeah.
not bashing their lack of budget, but what's just a simple little tweak that they could do that would make it more enjoyable for you?
Oh my God. That's a hard one. Um.
Here's another one for me
Oh,
while you're thinking, because
yeah. Yeah.
obviously I could think about
Just,
100 now that
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
on this, but what kills me is when someone obviously has like an old camcorder, they shot it on outside,
Mm,
and there's no dialogue, but they're doing an outdoor scene, especially when it's near traffic.
oh yeah.
And they
Yeah.
don't just cut the dialogue and like put music over it. There's no reason they need all that noise in the background for that shot.
Yeah, that's sometimes really annoying.
They could just instantly make it 10 times better by taking
Exactly.
out the traffic noise and putting some music over it.
Yeah, whatever.
And again,
Like,
these are things that really don't cost money in the editing. You just even if it was a
yeah.
blank space with no soundtrack, just take out that traffic and wind, that horrible wind on the
Oh
cheap
my
built
God, the wind on the mic. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah.
So low budget filmmakers listening, these are things that don't cost money. And
Hmm.
another one, if you have an old camcorder and think it's cool to record with that, the microphone is probably built into it. Then if you're doing a dialogue scene, then just get that microphone closer to your actors.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, it didn't work with all camcorders back when in the 90s.
Right. And
Uh,
another thing with the old fashioned camcorders, I mean, some of those weren't bad because that magnetic tape actually
mm,
records sound pretty nicely.
yeah, yeah.
But then you're shooting in the kitchen next to the fridge, and then you just got the hum of the refrigerator.
Oh my God, yeah.
or the air conditioner,
or the air conditioner, or 100 other things.
or then the people that are doing a scene in a car and the car is running, so all you hear is the engine.
Oh,
And they've got the radio on, but then they shoot it from different angles. So every time they cut to a new angle, the song on the radio jumps, 30 seconds ahead.
Yeah.
So when you've been making your own films, what's the most glaring error that you've made in a film?
Glaring error. I think most of them have to do with sound, actually.
Yep, it always comes down to sound, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunately, you have to experiment with that a bit, and sometimes the experiments just don't work out.
Well, let's jump into your filmmaking.
Yes, please.
And we had talked about, your first film, A Killer Conversation, which I think was released in 2014. So 6 years ago. Oh my God.
Yeah, 2015 it was released. It was ready in 2014. So.
Oh, okay. And it seems like since then you've actually had several of your short films produced.
Yes.
Can I list some of the names?
Yes, please do.
Isn't it fun to hear people talk about your work?
Oh, yes.
So you followed up Killer Conversation with Talk of the Dead.
Yeah.
And then a really cool title, The Night Monica Came Back.
Oh, yeah. That was a fun one.
And then First Impressions Can Kill.
Oh, yeah.
And then another fun title, There's No Such Thing as Zombies.
That's actually a feature film. That's
feature.
That's
very nice.
Post-production. We'll probably have this next year.
Excellent. And then Ready for My Close-Up, which I know Lynn Lowry, you worked with her on that.
Yes.
And then I see on IMDb you're in post-production on a short you wrote called Espresso to Die For.
Oh, I love Espresso to Die For. Yes, but I mean, we're in post-production for that forever. But it's one of my favorite shoots, actually. It's got Lynn Lowry again. It's got Deborah Lamb, and it was such a fun film to make. But it came at the wrong time, because back when, we already started post-production for There's No Such Thing as Zombies, and now we're still into that. So
now, where were these shot? Were any of these shot in Austria?
No, I shot all my movies, really all my movies in the UK. So,
interesting. Is that because your director lives there?
Also, but not only. But as I said before, the underground or indie scene in Austria is not very, very extensive. So, I just had to go somewhere else, pretty much.
So, like Lynn Lowry lives in the U.S. How do you arrange something where you fly in from Austria to the UK, you bring her from the U.S.? I mean, that's a lot of logistics to make happen.
It's one gets used to it, let's say it like that. But Lynn at one point just contacted me out of the blue and like, can I be in the movie? And I thought, yeah, that'll be nice. So pretty much that was that.
So on something like this, like for a lot of indie filmmakers, like I remember I first met Lynn at Crypticon in Seattle a few years back, and
cool.
I remember walking down an aisle going, "Oh my God, there's Lynn Lowry!"
Mm-hmm.
And it's always kind of cool when you unexpectedly go, "Oh my goodness," and you think, "Wow, what's she doing? What's she been acting in lately?" Because
hell yeah,
a lot of kind of cult icons, they've made movies years ago, but you're not quite sure what they're doing now. And I started to go, wow, more people should be coming up to her table, or, filmmakers should be going up there saying, Lynn, I want you in my movie,
Yeah.
You're thinking she's such an source. So it's really nice that she's had this renaissance and that she's working with so many independent filmmakers now.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
Did you start that? Do you think you were the one that was the springboard and now other filmmakers are following suit?
I don't think it was a springboard. No,
But
no,
it's kind of well, it's kind of like I think it's a lot of trust, especially Lynn, who's worked in Hollywood. It's a
Mhm.
transition to work with, more modestly budgeted independent film. So do
Yeah,
you think there's kind of this trust now, like, okay, she's worked with you and your people, and it's kind of like you had to kind of alter your expectation of, okay, it's not going to be, a Hollywood budget, but I like these people and it's kind of fun to do.
yeah. I mean, since Lynn and I have worked on, I think, 4 or 5 movies now, she obviously likes me somehow.
Right. Well, what's been her biggest response to like the budget and your sets? Does she ever comment like, "Oh, this is, what I remember back in the day," or does she just, go with the flow and just,
Well, she
you
goes
know,
with the flow. She goes with the flow. I mean,
mhm.
basically, like, Reddit from a Close-Up is actually a little bit about, gets into that, because there she plays this aging B movie actress, and and it gets into the old Hollywood days, not her old Hollywood days, but into the old Hollywood days, and comes up with some totally made up crazy B movies that her character was supposed to be in. And she's a killer in that movie, and she bases her killings on her old movies.
So did she collaborate on the script with you?
She made the suggestion for it, yes.
So she was kind of
And
had
actually
the,
she
the
found it
kernel of the
interesting
idea.
too. So
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 what was
she
that like? Because you had worked with her before, and then she just say, "Hey, Michael, I've got kind of this concept."
yeah, that was pretty much it. I
Hmm.
got this concept, I know who might produce it. Could you write the script? And I'm like, okay, cool.
I mean, did you ever think, a few years before that, you'd have Lynn Lowry approaching you to do a tailor-made script for her?
Well, of course. No, no.
A movie I really liked her in, and this will really age me because I saw this in the theater when it came out in
Okay.
1982.
Oh, then we must
She
discuss.
was in the remake of Cat People,
Yes, yes, yes.
and she was in one of the best scenes in the whole movie. Is actually probably one of the more frightening scenes. She was in the beginning when there's that big
Mm,
cat attack. I don't know, were they leopards or panthers?
I
I don't
think it
know
was
what the
Panthers.
panthers, like
No,
a black panther.
originally it was Panthers. I don't know what they were in the remake.
Yeah, it was a scary scene and very
Yeah,
well done. If I don't know if you've seen the movie lately, but she was really good in that.
yeah, she was. I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah.
Like when you knew you were going to work with her, did you go back to see her previous films?
Uh, some of them, yes.
So what were yours? Like wasn't she in was it The Crazies?
She was in The Crazies, and she was in David Cronenberg's Shivers. That were the two I knew her from.
Okay. See, if I worked with her, I would just want to, ask her a million questions about working with David Cronenberg.
Yeah, 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 of course.
And wasn't, I mean, The Crazies, that was
George Romero.
George Romero. So, in the 70s to work with two icons like that.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, what she says, both of them weren't icons then. We just see it like them that now, but uh, they were like more or less at the beginning of their careers.
Hmm. Right.
They both
So
were
she
still
was,
waiting for the big breakthrough. I think Shivers was like Cronenberg's first
right, right,
first feature or something.
right. Yeah. And I remember seeing that on home video,
Mm.
like either in the late 80s or early 90s. And yeah. Well, who were I would say both filmmakers and writers that influenced you early on? Were you always into cult film and underground film?
But yeah, pretty much. Who were they? Huh. That's a hard one, actually.
I mean, were there certain movies that you saw and go, wow, I love that. I would like to write something like that.
Uh, it, it was basically it was the other way around. I always wanted to write something that nobody has written before. You
I
know,
see.
every time I like a movie, I think of um, how can we make it differently,
Hmm.
if you know what I mean. Because I mean, like, there's no such thing as zombies. It's it's like nothing like Night of the Living Dead. I can tell you that.
Well, because yours has a lot of intentional humor in it.
Yes, yeah.
So it's almost like a comedy first that happens to have zombies in it.
That was the original idea. Yeah, yeah. You know, I wanted to, because I mean, zombies are really zombie movies are so formulaic right now, and we have like this barrage of zombie movies and zombie TV with The Walking Dead and stuff. And I thought,
Hmm.
well, how can you make it differently, and how can you approach it differently?
Well, I would imagine you'd be a fan of Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, that was a nice one. Yes, yes.
Did you like how they balance comedy with the horror and the action?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're really good, but that was another one I didn't want to be like. You know,
Right.
I'd love to be compared with a movie because I mean it's so big, but I, I tried to do it very differently.
And also, I just have to point out too, um, some of these, credits I'm listing, you do
Mm.
have more of a formal production role as well. So you're not just writing, but you're, part of just, making everything happen as a
Yeah,
producer too.
yeah. That was just, that was born out of need pretty much because
Mhm. But are you enjoying that? Because for a lot of writers, they enjoy being a producer on their projects because then they get more control, and I think it lets
yes,
them realize their vision better because they're not as much at the mercy of other people.
yes, that's true. But I mean, you can't be overpowering because at the end of the day, you have to trust your director and everything. But I mean, also being part of the casting process and everything, that's definitely a plus
Well,
because you.
I see another credit here, and it's a production credit, and I can't tell if you're one of the writers on it, but it's called Mannequin.
I can't tell you much about that yet.
Okay, so it's early, but did you have anything to do with the writing?
I didn't know. No.
Okay, but you're listed as one of the producers.
I am registered one of the producers, and I have been one of the producers, and it was a very interesting, in a good way, interesting shoot. But
Well,
I'm at
the
no liberty
poster
to
is
talk
really
about it
cool.
yet. So
Okay, we won't. The only thing I'll say, you don't have to comment, but it looks like Lawrence Harvey is in it, and he was
yes, he
the
is.
star of Human Centipede #2.
Yes, and he also was the star of The Night Monica Came Back.
Oh, so you had worked with him before.
Yes, yes.
Wow, he's really carving a niche in this whole genre world.
He is. Yeah, I mean, he's great to work with too.
Well, one thing I have to say is I'm surprised someone hasn't made a movie called Mannequin before. I'm sure they have. Well, there was that comedy in the
No,
80s,
there was
but
this bad comedy. Yeah, it has nothing to do with that.
right. And I just, I've got a love for killer doll movies, and I could see
Mm.
like mannequins being kind of, part of that genre, the inanimate object thing. So I'm actually kind of excited looking at the poster. The poster is really cool looking.
Oh yeah, no, you should have seen the location of my. I'm so sorry I can't tell you more about it,
Oh,
but
that's okay. Well, I'm just gonna then put that on my to-do list to, keep an eye out, and
absolutely do that. You won't
hopefully
regret it.
you'll keep me up to date because I'm excited by it.
Yeah. No, it's something very, very. As I said,
So
I would love to say more, but I mustn't.
so are you working on new projects? Do you have some new screenplays you're gonna produce?
Yes, 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 yes.
Well, do tell. Hopefully, you can tell me about one of those.
Quite a few. Yeah. Well, one we really hope to do is like Ready for My Close-Up, the prequel,
Oh, okay.
which will have Lynn Lowry again, of course, as the aging Scream Queen. It's also gonna have Deborah Lamb, and hopefully a whole lot of other, you know, bigger or smaller stars
To shoot in England again.
to shoot in England again. We really, but I mean, it's a little bit in the stars because you know what's happening at the moment has put a stop on everything. So
Right.
not a
Right.
stop, not a stop, a let's say an intermission.
Well, with, COVID and the quarantine, for you as a screenwriter and all screenwriters, is now just a time to really work on scripts.
That's true. That's true.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, do you ever see yourself coming to the US to shoot a movie?
I sincerely hope so. Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have you know, I don't have any concrete plans yet, but it's it would totally make sense.
Well, it would help Lynn, then she wouldn't, have to get an airplane ticket.
Yeah, that's true.
You just
That's
shoot it
true.
in her city. Come to her this time.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, you know, it might happen. I don't have I don't have that close relationships to U.S. filmmakers as I have in the UK.
Well, for you, what is the idealized part of America that you think would be cool to shoot in? Not like my very incorrect view of Austria and Germany and Switzerland, but
Mhm.
for you, or that you've seen in movies, or that you think, oh, this is to me represents a certain kind of America, and I would like to make a movie here.
Well, that's one thing is I might shoot a western sooner rather than later. So
So Europe still thinks of America like and as the Wild West in the
um,
1800s.
also, yeah, 1900s.
So yours
Yeah,
would be like
1800s.
more of
Sorry,
a,
sorry.
although
I,
different, eras of the West even, but maybe like a late 1800s
late
shoot 'em up.
1800s. Yes, yeah.
So
So
y-
that
maybe
might
the
happen.
Southwest, like maybe like Nevada or Utah, Wyoming.
Frankly, it really depends on where we find the right location. Because I mean, we need a western city for that.
See, but that's cool that you
So maybe we're gonna do it in Spain. I don't know.
Spain. There you go. Make Spain look like the old Western America.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, they did it in the spaghetti westerns all the time.
Clint Eastwood, a fistful of dollars.
Yes, yes.
How I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you like Italian films from the 60s and 70s?
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I
I mean,
mean,
who doesn't? Who doesn't?
exactly. I'm a big spaghetti westerns film a fan,
Hmm.
but
Well,
I
what are
mean,
your favorites of those? Is it all um,
well, I love the Sergio
Sergio
Leone
Leone?
films. Many of the Sergio Capucci films are very good. But I also love like what's it called? And God Says to Cain. Have you ever seen that one?
No, I haven't.
That's an interesting one. It stars Klaus Kinski, and it plays almost like a horror film.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Wouldn't you love to find an actor like Klaus Kinski to be in your
Oh,
films?
heck yeah, who wouldn't?
Although,
I mean,
he would.
not
He
the
comes
people
with a
on a
lot of
daily basis
baggage,
that would
but
play, you know.
I mean, it's so funny. You pick one name like a Klaus Kinski, and
Mhm.
just a
Yeah,
million images come up, and so much has been written about him since he died, even before he died, and such a lot of demons in this one guy, but at the same time, boy, was he an engaging actor.
exactly. No, I mean he's really made almost every film he's in his own.
Yeah, but boy, I read his autobiography.
Oh, I did too. Yeah,
Oh
he
my
was.
God, page after page, this guy. And I think, though, he's not afraid, though, to tell it like it is about himself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I don't know if I would like to be friends with him. But
Right. Or to just be, in another country isolated with him for months and months.
yeah, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. The film Fitzcarraldo.
Oh, yes. There's
It,
the legendary film shoot of Fitzcarraldo.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the shoot was heavy enough. It was difficult enough, and then you've got Klaus Kinski.
I mean, were they getting into fist fights on the set?
Most probably, I think so. Yeah, maybe not on Fitzcarraldo, but I think on some of the other movies, like didn't Werner Herzog sometimes say he put a gun on Klaus Kinski so he would even act.
Wow. Did you see the documentary about the making of Fitzcarraldo?
I might have. I can't remember it anymore. But no,
Oh,
I've seen a documentary like years ago.
Did you see the documentary about Richard Stanley and the making of The Island of Dr. Moreau?
No, I didn't see that. Oh.
Oh, you got to check that out. That's another. You're just talking about the relationship between a director and the actors.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And what's kind of nice about that, he made a couple films, and then, I think Dr. Moreau just destroyed him. It was such a traumatic shoot. And then I think he just gave up filmmaking, but then he recently made a comeback and he made a movie with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, The Color from Space or something, right?
Yeah, and I'm so happy that I want to think that that documentary maybe, brought him back on people's radar and made people want to work with him again.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean he was a great director. I don't know if I've
started
seen
out
Moreau even, but I mean his first few films were like wow.
Well, the first one I remember was Hardware.
Hardware, that was awesome.
Right, and I remember, when that came out, and that was, I mean, is he Australian?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and wasn't that film, because you're talking about doing a Western, the way they filmed that had a very kind of bleak landscape in it.
True, yeah.
Which brings us all back to The Road Warrior and Mad Max, which everything comes back to. But because I think what people loved about the post-apocalypse movies, they were such a throwback to the Westerns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally agree on that.
So maybe you could make your American Western in the Australian outback.
Who knows? Who knows what's happening? What's going to happen? I mean, I would love to film something in Australia someday.
Well, it's nice. Well, Mel Gibson, he keeps trying to make a comeback. He keeps making movies, but he's almost at the point where he might work on a film with one of your budgets.
Who knows? Yeah. No, I think not yet, but if that goes on.
Or the way Bruce Willis will act in anything now, maybe you could get him.
Yeah. I'd love to work with Bruce Willis,
Oh, that's another thing when you hear Kevin Smith talking about working with Bruce Willis, and he called it soul crushing, I think.
Oh, did he?
Almost made him want to quit movie making for good.
Oh, yeah.
But isn't that interesting? It's, the relationship a director has with their actors.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's refreshing to hear you've had such a good relationship with Lynn Lowry.
Yeah.
That sometimes it is you click with people, sometimes you don't. But when you do, isn't it nice to already know you're going to enjoy working with that person?
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, I mean that's why I think it's really important, from both sides to build a relationship, because that way you're gonna be called back.
So who else is on your dream list of actors to work with?
Oh, no, I haven't. Pretty much everybody, everybody that's above me. No, I mean I don't have I don't have a dream list, I have to admit.
Who are the current most famous actors from Austria?
Huh. What's his name? No, I don't even. He's got 2 Oscars already, and I don't even remember his name. Uh, no, but I mean, you see, I'm not very good at Austrian cinema. So
See, and who knows? They might want to work with you.
maybe,
This
it might
two-time
happen.
Oscar winner, you've got to nurture things at home there in Vienna, and
Yeah, probably.
just
But
make it be known that you will work with Oscar winners, and you will put them into the trashy film they've always dreamt of being in.
maybe it's gonna be happen one day.
You never know. So I would think if you shot your movies that you wrote in Vienna, think of all the amazing locations you have in your city.
No, that's true. That's true. I mean, it's I maybe someday it's gonna happen.
I think you need to talk to like some people in government there and say that you want to put Austria back on the map for filmmaking.
Might happen. Might happen.
How's the economy there?
Well, it's all right at the moment.
You know how like certain productions they like to like shoot in Romania?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like
why Romania? Because they give you all these tax breaks, and
right.
that's not happening in Austria, which is
Darn
maybe
it.
maybe that's short-sighted. But in Romania, where they got all these tax breaks, also Czech Republic was at least for a time like that. So they got all these international productions.
Well, I was thinking of Austria's, beautiful classical music. You must have some amazing concert halls and opera houses.
Oh, we do.
What would it take for you to shoot your next low budget movie with Lynn Lowry in like the Vienna Opera House?
It would be awesome, but you know, it would
Well, why
still
did why
need
did why don't you
lots of
write a
money.
role for her where she plays, an opera diva?
Yeah, might happen, might happen. Everything might happen.
Or like your version of the Phantom of the Opera.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
See, I think the higher you aim, the more these things will happen for you.
Oh, of course, of course.
So if I ever visit Austria, where's just the fun, trashy part of town?
The fun, trashy part of town. Well, you could go to the amusement park. That's pretty much around the corner from my place.
Now, what are amusement parks like there? This isn't like a Disneyland park.
No, this is really more like more old-fashioned rides and everything.
More like an arcade with video games and
No, not arcade. I don't think we even got an arcade there anymore.
does it have a roller coaster?
Did it have a roller? Yeah, of course. Yeah, stuff like that.
Do they have slot machines? Do they have gambling in Vienna?
There's a little bit of gambling, but it's not very. I think they got one casino there. I don't even know because I'm told that I'm uninterested in gambling. So
See, now that you're more of a producer, you need to start scouting talent. So you need to find like the old men at these sidewalk cafes with grizzled beard faces, and you just need to stockpile these character actors for your films.
yeah, no, that's true.
So like where do all the old fishermen hang out in Vienna?
I don't think we have many old fishermen.
No fishermen in Vienna. So what is just the whole tone of Austrians? Because again, I don't want to judge it from some old movie I saw a million years
Yeah.
ago, but modern day Austria, what's it like there? What are you guys known for?
What are we known for? Well, we're very laid back.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much, and we love to complain.
That I
But
can tell. That I can tell just from talking with you for a little while.
oh man, I'm nothing against you, the Austrians.
I'm
I'm
teasing
nothing
you. You're
against
actually
them.
you're very agreeable, Michael.
Thank you. No, but I mean, we have this culture of complaining is, I think, is very Viennese, and but we're not the people who like really put up protest marches or anything. We just like to complain.
And you've got some good Vienna sausage.
No, that's true.
So, what other cultural things is Vienna known for? It's to me, it just seems like a very cultured. Is it?
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
it?
it is. We've got all these old buildings. We've got all these musical heritage. Like Mozart, though he's from Salzburg, but we still say he was in Vienna most of the time, and like all these old composers. We've got our opera houses. We've got everything, and that's pretty much how we want to be seen.
Hmm.
In
Do you think you'll always stay there, or for your
it's
screenwriting career, do you think you'll move to a more lively film town?
it's no it's very agreeable to live here.
Hmm.
It's really nice because it's like quiet and everything. So if you really want to turn off and just write, then it's great here.
Hmm.
And
So when
but
there's not a quarantine, what
uh,
are fun things you can do there in your town that are just neighborhood things, or are there certain bars or pubs or coffee houses? I
oh
mean,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
what do
all those.
people do? Do a lot of people go out?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no. I mean, we've got, and I live in a very good neighborhood with many restaurants and everything, and bars. So it's really nice here.
Do
It's
you have a lot of live music with bands?
not depends on what you compare it to. Yeah, there are those, but I mean, I think in other towns there are much more.
So more the smaller outside of the city.
Yeah,
Do you have punk rock in Austria?
we do. Yeah,
Do you like it?
I'm. Mm, I wouldn't say I don't like it. I'm just not in the scene, so I I don't listen to it that much anymore.
Hmm.
I
And
haven't I have in my youth, but not anymore.
and do you have any film festivals there?
We do. We've like a really nice horror film festival. There was only 2 months ago,
Hmm.
and the Slash Film Festival. It's really one of the best, I think.
Hmm.
And then we've got the big film festival, international film festival, which is also pretty nice.
Hmm.
So
So since you have, this stature with the Research My Trash site, and
mm,
you're just out there as this, how much do you get approached to participate in the Vienna and Austria film scene?
not at all.
What?
Not at all. No, I mean, not in Austria.
So you
Not in
don't
Austria.
network with local film people?
No, no. That's as weird as it is. I've got almost no contacts in Austria. I've got plenty of contacts like in the UK, but not
Hmm.
in Austria.
Interesting.
I know.
Well, you're so busy, you probably don't have time to do anything else.
Oh, that's true. No, but I mean, I don't really complain because I'm thinking if I have to go to the UK to make movies, then my movies will be made in English
Hmm.
instead of German, which again means they're gonna appeal to a wider audience.
Hmm.
You always have to find the positive.
Well, I saw you on a podcast the other day. This was a filmed
Oh
podcast.
yeah, yeah.
Saw your face. That was fun. You need to do more of those. I mean, are you getting out there more doing interviews with people?
It's happening. It's happening. I mean, sometimes more, sometimes less, but yeah.
Hmm. Well, you know so much, since you've
Thank you.
seen and reviewed over 10,000 films.
That's true.
I would just think that people would tap you more for that expertise.
Yeah. I mean, it happens.
It
Uh,
happens.
and
Well,
I think if I put more effort into it, it would happen more.
yeah.
But
Well,
at the end of the day, I'm a writer, and we're all very shy.
that's right. And sometimes you don't want to do it all. Sometimes you don't
Yeah,
want to spread yourself too thin.
that's true. So you have to find the right balance there.
Well, we're not going to wrap up quite yet, soon, but I want to make sure everyone knows where to find you. So tell me, your website address for Research My Trash, and if you have a personal one, and if people do want to contact you, how they should contact you.
Well, my website address is www. You wouldn't have guessed that, right? Uh, Search my trash, one word, .com. There are contact details on the site, and also if you find me on Facebook, just friend me or like my Facebook Michael Haberfelner writer site.
Excellent. And I'll point out on the searchmytrash.com site,
Mm-hmm.
on the left-hand side, you can click on support this site.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, but
And
that doesn't happen a lot.
well, I think when people have to realize your site is totally free. I mean, you do all this as a labor of love.
Yeah, but I think people just assume everything on the web is free. And I don't mind. I don't mind doing this for free. It's firstly I've done it for myself, so
Well, I'm going to tell people that it's totally appropriate to support you.
oh, please
And
do.
you make it easy because you said, if you're doing online shopping, use the links on your site. That way
Yeah.
you get a little affiliate commission and buy your DVDs. People can send you stuff, and you make it so easy because you have a wish list.
Oh yeah, that too.
They can go to like Amazon,
Mm.
and which is kind of a cool thing. I don't people realize Amazon like has a thing you can set up with the wish list. So say your birthday is coming up, people can just
Yeah,
go to that and say, oh, he wants that. Okay,
yeah,
I'll buy that for him.
yeah, yeah. Please do, everybody.
So, that's sometimes you just have to be really out there and specific with people, because I think a lot of people do want to help and contribute,
Uh,
and they're saying, "Oh, do you have a donation button on your
yeah,
site or a Patreon account?" So, I think yours is nice because it's a little more personal. Instead of just giving money, it's like, "Oh, Michael wants this." And
yeah,
if you'll
yeah.
indulge me,
Sure.
I'm going to go so far as to bring up your Amazon wish list.
Okay, cool.
Oh my goodness, this is very telling.
Yeah,
Is that
probably. Yeah.
very
I,
revealing to see your list right off the bat? It's actually music, CDs.
yeah, there's some too. Yeah.
And let's see, a Les Baxter CD, Brazil Now.
That's fun.
Ash versus Evil Dead, the complete first season DVD.
Yes.
What else do you have here? The Exotic Sounds of Arthur Lyman. It seems like you have a soft spot for those albums from the 60s, the Exotica
Yeah,
instrumentals.
yeah, and especially, I mean, these exotic albums, you don't get them in Austria that much. My musical
Um,
taste is vast, but especially the exotica albums that
oh,
often have
yeah.
never left the US. So
Space Age Pop Jazz.
yeah, same thing.
Oh, I love it. You like the Ventures, Hawaii Five-O theme.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'll just look at a couple more. We got to look at movies. Jess Franco, of course. So you want the book, The
Yeah,
World's Most Dangerous Filmmaker, Jess Franco by Christopher Todd.
that should be a fun read.
I think
Really love
I'll
Chris Franco because he like never he never gave up, and he never submitted to anything.
I kind of like it. I'd never heard of this book, so this is educational for me.
Yeah.
I might have to put that on my
Mhm.
my wish list too. And then you got the Hellraiser collection, the Ninja collection.
Oh, okay, that's yeah.
Let me see if there's any non-music or film thing here. Oh my God, you have the Ginger Dead Man on your
Oh,
wish list.
oh, I do.
Oh, and Showgirls, the fully exposed edition.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I've never seen it actually, but it's supposed to be
You've never
quite
seen
good.
Showgirls?
No, I didn't.
You are in for a life-changing event.
I know. That's why I want it.
It lives up to the hype. And again, I have to say I'm older than you, so I saw that when it first came out in the 90s. And
Yeah, no, I mean, I was old enough back then. I just, didn't have the.
well, all I'll say is even back then, I knew this had cult film potential. It
Oh,
was
okay.
just so over the top. I thought, wow.
Yeah,
And the critics were trashing it. I knew that this had entertainment value.
yeah.
So, okay, enough of that. But again, I urge people, give back to this community that has given you so much. Give back
Yes,
to
please.
Michael.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I won't even get though into this whole. You have a little naughtier section too that
Oh,
you can
yeah.
contribute to. So we don't have to go into that.
No,
Although
no. I mean,
I don't see you currently have anything listed there, so
I don't know.
maybe you had all those uh, urges satisfied already.
Yeah, probably. One gets old.
And what else do you have on your side? I'm looking on the left-hand side, so you have a book side of just books you recommend to people.
Yeah, that I set up 15 years ago, so I don't even know anymore what's on there.
Oh, you got John McCarty and
Okay.
and of course the classic, the Psychotronic Encyclopedia of Film.
Well, that's a classic, yeah.
So do you rely on film books a lot just to learn about old films?
I did. Now not that much anymore because I've read them all probably. No, but back in the day when not everything was that available to you, you had to get your knowledge from somewhere, especially in the pre-internet days.
Well, this begs the question, will you ever compile some of your reviews and interviews from your site into a book?
I might. I don't know. I might.
What's stopping you?
Uh, well, first it's like a whole lot of work,
Yeah.
and I mean I already have to work with my website, so I'd really have to set aside some time to commit to it.
It would
And
just be volumes and volumes of books.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
And then
I would
the
like to
thing
read
with
that.
books is you know, and nowadays my site always stays on top of things. Books age.
Yes. Well, all I'll say is, I know you're very busy. I, for one, would buy a volume of your reviews
Yeah.
and or interviews. That would be a really cool thing.
Oh yeah, no, it might happen someday, but it's really a question of time, I think.
Well,
More than
it's basically your life's work.
oh, that's true. That's true.
They should, have this in the Austrian Library of Congress.
Well, who knows? Maybe that's going to happen someday.
I mean, they have to realize. I think the Austrian government needs to realize you're making a substantial contribution to film.
Yeah, but in Austria everything's a little bit different. So,
Do you have to like bribe people a lot?
huh?
Do you have to bribe people?
Well, I never do, but
Like to
might
get
help.
an appointment at the doctor? Do you have to like bribe to get
Oh
higher up on
no,
the
no,
list?
it's not like that.
So
No.
it's not like a corruption government kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it's not that. But in Austria, you know, current culture doesn't really have the same status as like musicians like Mozart or something. So that's just it.
Well, everything runs its course.
Exactly.
Why don't you write a script for a really trashy Mozart exploitation film.
Yeah, that's another thing that might happen someday. It's
You never know.
yeah,
And again, you're still young. Who knows where your career will go from this point?
exactly.
What if suddenly you became a really in-demand Hollywood screenwriter and you didn't have time to do research my trash anymore? Which would you choose?
Well, I would choose the screenwriter, but it's you can always do a little bit of search my trash. I can
W-
write pretty fast, so
Would you ever trust other people to take over and do some of the writing for you on
uh,
your website?
probably not.
So
Probably
that
not.
has to be you. This is your
I'd rather
baby.
keep it to myself. I mean, I in the past I had some people who did some reviews and stuff, but it wasn't really
Right. Because the
as
site is
helpful as I
you.
thought.
Yeah. It's you.
Because yeah, no, and I mean I like to watch these movies. It's like I don't need help with that. That's the fun part of it, is watching the movies, not filling the site up.
Hmm.
So
Well, I've got a few more questions. How about
okay,
five
I have to admit
five
I'm
more
a little short on
questions?
time because my food delivery is coming soon. So
See, if it's not your phone ringing, then it's
yeah,
your food delivery.
yeah.
Okay. Then we'll do 5 questions. Instead of 15, I'll do 5.
Okay.
By the way, what's your food delivery? Is it like a vegan macrobiotic special food or?
No, it's just gonna be a pizza.
Oh, just pizza delivery. Here I
Yeah.
thought you had some
Oh
organic grocery
no,
delivery.
no, 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 no.
So what do you get on your pizza?
It's I think ham and peppers.
Okay, that was your first question. See how quick and easy that was?
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
Very telling, but I would have expected Vienna sausage.
Yeah, no, they don't have it there, so
And what kind of peppers? Like red bell pepper, green pepper?
green pepper.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Very, very acidic, but tasty.
Uh,
Okay. Number 2, your best memory of being on the set with Lynn Lowry.
Best memory? Well, probably when she killed me.
Oh, so you were an actor with her in a scene.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In two movies, in Ready for My Close Up and what's it called? It's Pressure to Die For.
How did she kill you?
She tore out my Adam's apple.
And did you have a prosthetic and a special effect?
We had a special effect, yeah.
Okay. Question number 3. Is it customary in Austria to tip pizza delivery people? And if so, how much will you tip them?
Oh, well, not necessarily delivery people.
You don't tip the
But
pizza guy in Austria?
no, not really, because now we can't do cash anymore. So
Well, you can do it when you order. Can't you just add 20% onto the bill?
20% is much too much for Austria. We
And is
do
this
10%.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Can you do it like after the fact on your phone app if it was a good, timely delivery?
I'd have to look it up.
And if they're really quirky, would you consider casting the pizza guy in one of your films?
Well, maybe.
Would that be uncomfortable at the end of the transaction to say, "Hey, by the way, I make films. I think you'd be a natural. Would you? Would
If
you like to
if
audition?"
he or she is really good, I wouldn't have any. Any reservations, but I haven't met one yet.
Or is that just not Austrian to put people on the spot like that?
Oh no, no, I would do it. I don't know if it's Austrian.
So it wouldn't go outside of the country's comfort zone.
Maybe.
Okay. 2 questions left.
Yeah. Whoops, that's my food. Sorry,
All right.
but I'll stay on.
Okay, I'll entertain our listeners since it won't be the first time during this interview I've gone solo on it. So, he's getting the pizza, green peppers, I can't remember what the other one was. Bacon? Is that Canadian bacon or ham? I wonder what it smells like. Does pizza smell different in Vienna than it would in another country or another city? And when he comes back, was it a guy or a girl? And were either of them worthy of an audition for Michael's next comedy horror zombie film? We'll see. Also, what will he drink with the pizza? Will it maybe be an Amstel light beer?
All right.
Maybe
I'm back.
Heidelberg. Okay, are you back?
Yes.
So you got the pizza and a beer. Are you drinking beer with it?
I'll pour myself some, yes.
So what kind of beer are you pouring?
Well, it's just an Austrian beer.
Oh, what's it called?
It's called Eggermärzen.
Is it good?
Yeah. I mean, reasonably good. It's cheap.
Well, I'll have to see if they sell it in America.
Yeah. They might.
Is Austria like Germany? Like you have really good beer there?
Oh, we always say it, yeah. No, I mean, we like our beer, so.
Does Austria celebrate Oktoberfest?
Yes.
Is that a big tourist thing?
Not as religiously as Germany, but we do.
Has there ever been a horror film built around an Oktoberfest celebration?
Not to my knowledge. There might be, and that would be a good idea.
Okay. By the way, these are just bonus questions. I'm going to wait until you get settled with your pizza and your beer and you're back at the mic, and then I'm going to do the final two questions.
All right, I'm right proper.
Okay. And again, this is still a bonus. Was it a man or a woman who delivered the pizza?
I think it was a man, but he was like really masked and everything, so I couldn't really tell 400% sure.
Did you
sense? He has a high voice, so.
Well, did this person have star quality?
No.
Did they have presence?
No, but again, he or she was masked, so.
But a real star, that star quality would just emanate from behind the mask. You would feel it.
Then no star quality, no.
Okay. All right.
Questions. Wait, I'll be right back.
Okay. So he's going back to get either a napkin or a paper towel. I would imagine a cloth napkin, because they wouldn't be as wasteful in Austria. They would actually have a paper napkin that they would wash later. Unlike disposable America, we would probably have, a pile of paper towels per pizza slice. What else is he doing? In his small flat, it's probably a very older historic building, maybe hardwood floors, maybe area rugs. I'm not sure. We'll find out when he comes back. Let's see. He probably.
All right.
Okay. So, do you have hardwood floors in your apartment?
Sorry?
Do you have hardwood floors in your apartment?
Oh, yes.
Do you have area rugs?
What?
Do you have rugs on the hardwood floor?
No.
So it's just all hardwood floor and furniture on top.
It's part hardwood floor and part carpentry.
Is it an old historical building?
No.
Do you have plants in your apartment?
One. So
when you look out the window, what do you see from your window?
Well, the house across the street, it's not really a nice view.
So you can't see the Vienna Opera House from your window?
No. It's not really in the vicinity. Well, I mean, it would be a half-hour walk, so.
Okay. Well, let's talk more about this Oktoberfest horror film.
Okay.
So if you wrote a horror comedy about Oktoberfest in Vienna, how would you have the killer kill everyone? What would be some really clever, uniquely Austrian ways to kill people in this slasher comedy. Well, of course, one would have to be drowning in a pitcher of beer. That would be obvious.
That would be nice. Yeah, I mean, maybe you could like poison the beer, or put something inside the beer that makes the drinker want more and more and more till they drown themselves.
Oh, I like that. So they just drink themselves to death.
Mm-hmm.
How about choking them with a giant pretzel?
That's a nice one too. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like back in the kitchen, they're running out of the sausages. So they have to go back to the freezer, and somebody could beat someone to death with a frozen sausage.
Yeah, I could do that.
See, this movie is just writing itself.
Exactly.
All right, moving on. So, we've talked about a lot of fun stuff, your website, your screenwriting, your beautiful hometown. I just want to give you a chance, to have some final words and just to say, especially, you working on this site, this labor of love, giving so much to so many people, giving attention to work that may not get a lot of attention without you. I just want you to share with people, what you've gotten this and what keeps you still doing it after all these years.
What I've gotten out of doing it, I think it's just, a much bigger scope than you would have with just watching Hollywood movies. And I think that's something that's really rewarding to see also what can come out of just your imagination. And that's has stayed with this whole site for forever now. And so I think my fascination for all this is like really still as big as it was in the first days. So that's what keeps me going.
Do you think you'll do the website for the rest of your life?
I would think so, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't know what would stop me,
So you think, how long will it take you to get up to 20,000 reviews?
Probably another 15 years.
Oh my goodness. What will, I mean, can you even imagine what's with all the COVID and changes that society seems to be making now? What do you think filmmaking will be like in 15 years?
That's a good question, because I have no idea what it might be like. I mean, first I hope things will get back to normal. But what I always think, like maybe in 15 years somebody makes a movie about COVID and gets all the details wrong. Or maybe I should make that movie.
Yeah. Well, as you progress in your filmmaking, you've gone from screenwriter, added producer. Do you ever want to direct your work?
I'd love to give it a shot one day, but I don't know if I'd be really good at it or if it would just be a vanity project. So, so at the moment I have no concrete intention to do that. I'm just really happy writing. That's what I think my main passion is, and everything else that needs to be done. But writing is my real passion, and I mean, as a vanity thing, I'd love to direct one day. But if it's the best idea, is on another page.
Well, since you're both a filmmaker and a film reviewer, give some words of advice to aspiring filmmakers and just some specific things on what are the most important things that these new filmmakers should do to make their films more enjoyable?
First of all, I think that's the most important thing is, I think, make a movie that you can afford to make. You know, if you can't afford anything, don't try to make a superhero movie because it's going to look shit. But if you like my first movie was three people sitting around a table, basically a killer conversation. That you can afford, you know, and also don't pack too many special effects in your movies if you don't have good effects people. Then another thing is sound. See that the sound is good. Music. Get some cool music. First of all, get a musician that really can play various styles, and don't just fill the soundtrack up with your favorite rock bands, even if they don't fit the mood of the movie at all. Those are just the things from the top of my head that I can say. And I could probably think of about 1,000 more once we ended this interview, of course.
Of course.
Just have to come back, I guess.
Anytime, because, you know, now that I know a little more about you, boy, will I have some questions ready for you.
Cool.
And last but not least, what is the scandalous secret you're hiding about the Mannequin movie?
As I said, I can't tell you that because it's because I've signed a non-disclosure. So
okay,
so
I'm teasing you and putting you on the spot.
No,
we will wait patiently for the Mannequin movie.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to talk about this, but in this case, I really mustn't. You know, it's gonna be great when it comes out. It's gonna look so good. If you see the location, it's gonna be stunning. But I can't give away any more.
I have very, very high hopes. I've got a good feeling for that movie.
Me too. And it was a fun shoot, so that I can tell you.
Well, the next time I talk to you, I hope that you're getting more recognition from the Austrian government.
Well, let's hope for that, yeah.
Well, his name is Michael Haberfelner. He is the creator of the amazing site Research My Trash. He's a screenwriter. He's a producer. He is very loyal, I can tell, because he's very tight-lipped on the Mannequin film project. So you know that you can trust this man. And I really thank you for all that you've done for independent filmmakers.
You're ever so welcome, of course. No, I really enjoy doing this, so it's just awesome too.